Hi, and welcome to your next PB&J video tutorial. This week on the blog, we'll be sharing projects that are anything but a card. And today on my project, I'll be using this penny black stamp called Sundial. Here's a look at what we'll be creating in our PB&J class today. This is a frame backed with chicken wire, which can be used to attach photos, handmade cards, anything that you would really normally attach to a bulletin board, you could attach to this frame. To begin, I'm going to take an anti-static bag and rub this across a heavyweight white cardstock. And I'm going to be inking my stamp using Versamark. And I'm going to stamp this 4 times onto my paper. Each time I'll re-ink using the Versamark ink. And I'm using Versamark here just because I'm going to be embossing this image. Once those are stamped, I'm going to be using white embossing powder and sprinkling this right over the top. You could also use clear embossing powder since we have stamped on white paper. And I'm just tapping off the excess back into the container. And then I'll go ahead and heat these to set. And you can see there, it's difficult to see, but they are set. They've been heated and the powder's been melted. Now I'm taking distress stains, and this color is Wild Honey, and I'm just coloring right over the top. And you can see that that embossed image resists. This is Vintage Photo, which I'm lightly dabbing to the center, and then going back over using the Wild Honey to sort of blend that out. And I'm also getting those petals there along the edges just to darken those up a little bit. So I'll do the same thing here. I'm coloring right on top using the Wild Honey. I'll dab the center lightly with Vintage Photo, and before that completely dries, I'll go back over with Wild Honey just to sort of spread that out and add some shading. Again here with Wild Honey. Vintage Photo to the center. And blend it out using the Wild Honey. And if you happen to have some transfer onto the tip of the Vintage Photo onto the Wild Honey tip, just color onto a scratch paper until it colors clean. Now this third flower I'm going to use for the leaves. So I'm coloring this one with Peeled Paint Distress Stain. And that's just a helpful thing if you're looking for a leaf to match your flower. Stamp an extra one and use the petals as your leaves. Now I added some shading with Forest Moss, and then I'm going to go back over that with the peeled paint just to blend it out again. And now we'll go ahead and cut out each of those images. Once they're cut out, they're going to look like this, and you can see here those are the third flower that I cut for the leaves. I'm applying adhesive to the back of the flowers and positioning those leaves right on the back where I'd like them to be. And now we'll take a look at the construction of the frame. So this was actually constructed, this frame, by my friend Sherry. She purchased it at a secondhand store, painted it, distressed the edges, and then just used a staple gun to attach the chicken wire to the back. And I'm using these Zap Dots dimensional adhesive pop dots. They're very strong, so it's nice for an altered project like this. Putting them onto the back of the flower, and then positioning those flowers onto the frame. And I like using this sundial flower because it's so big that it suits the size of the frame. And I'll just layer a couple of those down here at the bottom, and then I'll add one more up here at the top. Now this is just a simple tag which I've torn. I'm going to use the top part here, and I'll be inking this using the Distress Ink Seedless Preserves. A real light layer over the tag, just to tie into that purple color of the frame. I'm starting off of the edge and working my way on in a circular motion. And I'm using the ink blending tool with the foam pad here on this tag. Next, I'll take walnut stain and the foam pad again, hold the tag in my hand, and just dab that around the outer edge just to finish it off. Our sentiment comes from the Penny Black set, which I'll be inking with VersaFine ink, black ink. And just centering that straight down on the tag. Now this is the bottom piece of that tag that I tore off, and I just want a little bit of it to show. So I've just inked the bottom. I'm going to put adhesive on the bottom of the top of the tag and also on the small piece and adhere those together. And I also want to add some walnut stain distress ink to the bottom of that wild honey piece. Again, holding it in my hand and dabbing it around the edge. Now this I'm also going to add to the frame using the zap dots. And then I just wanted to show you here, you can use these mini clothespins just to attach. You could do your photo, you could do handmade cards, inspiration pieces that you've seen or cut out of magazines. And you could just hook that right onto the chicken wire. And again, if you wanted a larger frame, you could do a larger frame, it would hold more. So here's a look at the frame without any items in it. And a peek with it holding some items clipped on. Thanks so much for watching. For details and more information, visit www.pennyblackink.com.